This video was sponsored by Card Kingdom. You can visit their store by using my referral link in the description below. So, these are fine, but you definitely don't want to be first picking them. They're, they do a thing, and that is fix your mana, and that's not really worth the first pick if that's all they do. Our uncommons aren't amazing. I like the Naturalist okay, Werewolf Lord's pretty cool. Astronomer, pretty decent. Necrosynthesis, don't love. So, we don't have any really exciting uncommons, but the good news is down here we have a very exciting common in Moonrager's Slash. Thank you for the resub, Killer Tofu. Moonrager's Slash is great. It's best common in the set, I think. Preliminary best common in the set anyway. Eaten Alive's in the neighborhood too, but yeah, Moonrager's Slash is just crazy good. So we'll go ahead and grab it here. I also like Search Party Captain. I think both of these commons are better than all three of our uncommons, I would say. Which is kind of crazy. I mean, the Naturalist is kind of similar, but it's gold, so, there's not really a great reason to take it there. Okay, so we got Red's best common. Now we can get Red's best uncommon in Cathartic Pyre if we want, and it's mostly 2 mana to do 3. It has a little bit of upside beyond that. What else do we have here? I do like Dawnheart Mentor overall, but I think Pyre's probably just better. Locked in the Cemetery is pretty good common for blue. Yeah, I think it's a pretty easy Cathartic Pyre here. Yeah. So, not a bad way to start a draft with back-to-back really good red cards. Of course, then there's this pack, which has only one red card in Lambhold Harrier, and our rare is one of the basically unplayable ones, which there aren't that many of these days, but it is one of them. So, we're going to be turning somewhere else. Yeah, this pack's not amazing. So, Vampire Interloper is a nice little 2-drop that helps set up a lot of things. In terms of the black-red deck. Unblinking Observer is a nice little card. If we ended up in blue-red, it's pretty good at, helping us cast instants and sorceries. I think those are basically the places I'm looking here. Broodweaver's okay. It's probably a little more than okay, but it's not great. It's not really something I would take over a couple of cards that have some more relevant synergy. this does some stuff in terms of sacrifice, I guess, but I think we're going to take the Observer in the end. We have 2 spells already. That's kind of the tiebreaker. Okay, so this is interesting. So Flame Channeler really wants you to have spells that do damage. If you have them, it's incredibly good. We've already got 2. So, it's not that likely we, pick up 2 every 3 cards the rest of the way. But getting to like 4 or 5 is pretty doable when we've already got 2. And the rest of this pack is not great. Rite of Harmony is kind of hard to set up. You have to be green-white anyway. The Occultist is fine. The Bat Whisperer is fine. There's just not anything very exciting here, apart from Flame Channeler, which I think is exciting if you can make it work. And even if you can, it's a 2-mana 2/2 that sometimes flips. So... pretty reasonable floor. Okay, so this is interesting. We've got a Burly Breaker here. It's a nice little creature to have at the top of your curve, and it's not actually little, of course. It's burly. Perforator, it's another card that sets up the black-red deck. It's an okay 2-drop. I think Burly Breaker is just the best card in this pack, so I think I'm going to take it over a medium red card. If we ended up in black-red, this is a little more than medium, but the Breaker seems really sweet, so... that's where we're going to go there. See where the packs take us. Okay, so Neonate's Rush would give us another spell that damages. So for our Flame Channeler, that's pretty sweet. It's definitely better in a Vampire deck than in what we're currently doing, but we could end up in one. We've also got Locked in the Cemetery, which is just a reasonable removal spell. It is one that needs, some stuff in your graveyard to be at its best. So it's not amazing, but... the Ruffian and Neonate's Rush aren't either. The Rush would be if we end up with enough vampires. It's perfectly solid, but without it, I'm not loving it. Yeah, I think we probably still take it here, though. It has a higher ceiling than our other options in that pack did. Okay, So green looks pretty open, but none of these green cards are so good that I'm like, oh man, I have to be in green. So they're fine. I mean, I like the guide. I like tapping at window and Path to the Festival. They're all very playable. These white cards are okay. I'll probably just take Immolation. I mean, it's a nice removal spell, if nothing else. Okay, so we're getting a lot of the little vampire cards, cards that make the vampire deck work, and Voldaren Stinger here, but we don't really have any major payoffs. I mean, we have Neonate's Rush, and I don't think I want to go super hard into vampires just because of that. And I think Dawnheart Rejuvenator's pretty good. If we're sort of a mid-rangey deck, it gives us good fixing if we're red-green, and it looks like we go that way. Geist Wave is okay. Is it good enough to take here over the Rejuvenator? Probably not. But it is okay. So yeah, like all of these black cards. None of them are great. Snarling Wolf's okay. Mounted Dread Knight. These 3 red-green cards are all perfectly fine, but unexciting. And that's kind of true of these 3 cards, too. I think Necrosynthesis is a little worse than fine, but other than that, I think we will go with the Dread Knight here, just because we do have 1 vampire payoff, and if we pick up another Neonate's Rush, things will get interesting, and we do. Bramble Armor, pretty good. Piece of equipment overall. Kind of leaning towards the Rush, and seeing if vampires continue to be really open. So Arrogant Outlaw is not amazing, but it's not bad. And Candlelit Cavalry, kind of the same thing. So I think we're going to go ahead and grab a vampire here, see what happens. Maybe we're going to be black-red in the end. Alright, I don't mind the Occultist. I mean, it's not at its best here, but it's not bad. I think Bramble Armor is okay, too. We get 2 of them. Okay, well, so now we get Grafted Identity. It's funny because we've had a hard time finding our identity in this first pack. I am leaning towards taking the Identity. It's a bomb. That art is different than the one on the... At least the one they uploaded at first, like the one that was in my set review, which is... Anyway, that's weird. Voldaren Ambusher is a nice little payoff for vampires and stuff, but Grafted Identity is great. We could easily sort of shift back into blue-red. I mean, we're giving up some stuff, but nothing incredible. Yeah, so I think we take Grafted Identity here. Flesh Taker is sweet, also cool flavor and everything, in addition to being great. But yeah, Grafted Identity is really good. Ideally, we have things to sacrifice to it, and right now we're not, like, great at doing that, but we could get there. Okay. So, right now, I think blue-red still looks like our most attractive option. That said, it's not like this pack is overflowing with awesome blue-red things. I mean, I think I'll take another Observer. The Astronomer is interesting. It is a decent 2-drop. But yeah, I think we'll take another spell payoff here. See if we can keep those going. Okay, so there's another Burly Breaker. So another Locked in the Cemetery is not bad. This looks pretty good to me if you're in an aggro deck. I'm not sure we are. I'm probably just going to take the Infiltrator here. It's not super exciting, but I think it's better than a second Locked in the Cemetery. So let's see here. So now, of course, we get... oh, yeah, we want this. I was going to say, now, of course, we get a good blue card. Well, that's a good thing. I was thinking we'd given up on blue, sort of, or we're trying to go in a different direction, but we're not. So we'll just take the Intruder. It's a great card. It comes in, weakens a thing, wreaks havoc in combat, and then has decent stats all on its own. All right, so right now... That Heirloom Mirror is tempting, but I think right now we're sort of shifting back into a blue-red deck, which looks fine. I mean, I think the deck's looking solid right now. So I think I'd probably take an Elementalist. We have enough spells that I think we're interested in going that route. Yeah. It also sort of lets us rebuy like a damaging spell and stuff like that. So we'll take Ardent Elementalist here. The Moonrise is interesting, but yeah. We're not leaving in this Bramble Armor. Okay, well now things are getting good for us in blue-red. So Seize the Storm, I think, is a very real win condition for this deck. You know, the more I thought about this card, the more I thought I underrated it in my set review. I think I gave it a C+, and I think it's probably like a build around B is probably a better reflection of what it is, and that is, you know, that it's a really real win condition. You know, flashback is a big deal. Even when the card looks inefficient, it can be a big deal. I don't really think we want Shipwreck Sifters. I guess I'll take another Immolation. Huh. Does that say spells that do damage, or should I be taking bolts? Where is that thing? Yeah, so it wouldn't work with our bolt, with the bolt type thing. Decent green cards here. Candle Guide's not terrible, but I think I'd rather have the Stinger. It's definitely better in like a more focused vampire deck, but you know. Okay, so lots of playable red cards in this pack. Do I want another Infiltrator more than I want these other things? We're doing okay on 2-drops, so I kind of think I do. Yeah. I do like the Forager's okay. It is another vampire that would help out our Neonate's rushes, but we could use some more spell payoffs for sure. We did pretty well in that pack overall, given that we shifted a little late in the game. You know, I guess I'm going to grab the key in case we decide to splash something. It's kind of free to take it there, so. All right, I'll take the Sifters. I doubt they make the cut, but I'm going to take it. It's another Immolation. Another Unblinking Observer. So, really, I want more spells, because we actually have quite a few little payoffs now. Okay, well, of course. All right, I mean, it's good enough that it's hard not to take it here. You know, it's a good problem to have. We can't waffle too much about it. The good news is we do already have several good green cards, several playable green cards anyway. So it's not crazy to take it here. And we're not giving up anything amazing either. I mean, Infusion looks like it would be okay in our deck. But that's pretty much it. So I might just take the Evolving Wilds in this pack if it didn't have the adversary. So we're not really giving up much to take it, and it's an amazing card. So, and you can't really splash it because of the way the multi-kicker on it works. So we either have to play it like the old school way, or you know, splash it, or not play it at all is what I mean. Okay, so Phantom Carriage is pretty good. We're not like, we don't have an overwhelming amount of flashback at this point. I think maybe we only have one card with it. Yeah, but I think it's likely we pick up more. The green cards here are good. None of them are great, you know, as nice as the adversary is. So I think we just take the Carriage here. Ooh, okay, so getting another Flame Channeler is good because I think our deck is pretty well equipped to transform it between the Neonate's rushes and other damaging spells. So I think we just grab another one here over, like, Startle, which I think is fine, and another Rush. Good chance this wheels for us, though. Okay. So Fading Hope's not bad. It's probably what I'm going to end up taking here. Yeah. Fading Hope it is. Cheap spell, and that's good. Okay, so this has Disturb, which is another thing we can grab with our Carriage, and it's just a pretty good card anyway, so I think it is what we take here. We don't want our Carriage to only have one target, which would be, that wouldn't be good. So yeah. So I'm not super into any of this stuff. So I think taking the Adversary was the right thing to do, but just because we weren't giving up that much. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to play it. I mean, right now, I guess we don't have a lot of beefy creatures, so maybe we just want the Amalgam. Seems alright. Otherworldly Gaze does not seem alright. We're not really a Corpse Cobble deck either. Yeah, this card just doesn't do anything, and it's hard to want that. And yeah, milling yourself is a thing in this format, but without, like, Delirium and things like that, it's a lot less interesting. We'll grab this Stormrider Spirit. So we're not really in Abandon the Post deck. I do feel like overall we maybe didn't pick the best path for our seat based on how these late packs have been looking. And it sort of felt like that the whole way, but that second pack really gave us so much that I think we might be okay. But I think a Larder Zombie here. Okay, so Neonate's Rush and Arcane Infusion. How are we doing on instants and sorceries? We don't really have enough to play Arcane Infusion. I think we have... I think we're more interested in the rush, just because we have those 2 flame channelers. All right, we'll take a Crossroads Candle Guide. So this is going to be... I don't feel super confident about this deck, if I'm being frank. I think, you know, we took 2 really good red cards with our first 2 picks, and then we took a Flame Channeler, and I think a kind of Tunnel Vision. So we'll see how it turns out. I don't think it's terrible, but, you know, we don't have as many spells as you really want to have, and we don't have... which is, you know, not a good place to be in this deck. I mean, I think we have 7, which is a lot, but I think this deck wants like 10 more often than not. So, yeah. All right. It does seem like maybe green was more open overall. So, you know, I think Seize the Storm is still going to be playable. We may move things around a little bit. Yeah, because we have 7 instants and sorceries. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any good way to... I don't have any good other instants and sorceries to throw in the deck just to make it work. And that's not great. But I think we do still leave it in overall. But it is... yeah, we're a little low on spells, and that's not great. So... I'm excited to mess around with Flame Channeler, though. This is going to be a pretty good deck at flipping Flame Channeler, if nothing else. So that should be interesting. We probably don't play Stormrider Spirit in this deck, or Drowned Amalgam in the end. I mean, I think our finishers are basically like these 3 cards, and those other cards aren't as good at it, and I don't think we want the Sifters. Other than that, I think I'm okay with what we've got. We're going to go hard on these Neonates rushes, see what we can do with them. The fact they replace themselves and stuff like that is just really nice. Yeah. I probably wouldn't play 3 in most blue-red decks, but with 2 Flame Channelers, I think it's an okay thing to do. So I could cut an Observer, but I think it's just going to be better than Shipwreck Sifters. So I don't think I'm going to. I could think about cutting like Voldaren's Stinger. Like, this isn't, you know, exactly the kind of deck where we like love that thing. And yeah, it'll reduce the cost of our rushes, but I still think maybe we would cut it and maybe just play the Sifters instead, or another flyer even. Like, I think maybe we put the Spirit back in. Yeah. All right, we'll see how this thing does. Like I said, not feeling amazing about our first draft in this format. But we'll see. We do have things like Grafted. You know, we've got Grafted Identity, which can just steal games and stuff. So that's good. We don't have the best, like, sacrifice fodder for Grafted Identity, but it's still going to be really good, I think. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think we have enough creatures to sack to Identity. We don't really need to have a 1-drop whose main purpose is to do that. You know, I think all of our 2-drops are also pretty good to sack to it, for example. Okay, well, we have a Flame Channeler that will be able to transform quickly. If nothing else. We can rebuy our Moonrager's Slash, too, which is pretty gross. So, like, if I play turn 2 Flame Channeler, and then on turn 3 use Moonrager's Slash to kill a thing, that's going to feel pretty good. So this thing's a cool little card. It can stock up their graveyard, and then it turns into a pretty real problem and transforms into Death Bonnet Hulk if they get enough creatures in their graveyard. So the question is whether I feel like I need to kill it or that wolf more. Does this transform at instant speed? It does. So I could attack here, get them to double block, kill one of them with Moonrager's Slash, and then this would transform. And then if they don't block, I could consider just playing my Infiltrator. Yeah, I think that seems interesting. So let's attack with our Channeler here. I guess if they only block with one thing, it's going to be kind of a bummer. Why would they double block? Yeah, so I think I should probably just use Moonrager's Slash here, now that I think about it. Just use it to kill. I guess I'm going to go for... I'm going to get to rebuy it, so maybe it doesn't matter a ton, but I think I'll use it to kill the wolf here. Yeah, there was no way they were going to double block there, so I don't think it was the right thing to do. All right, so they've already got 2 creatures in their graveyard, so they're on the verge of transforming this thing. Which isn't great for us. Yeah, that's annoying. I think I'm just going to play the Elementalist and get back the Slash. Seems pretty good. Alright, so they did not mill a creature, so it's not transforming right away. So that's good. Morning Malazoid. Well, that's interesting. Okay. So I think I'm just going to play my Infiltrator here and pass. Although, leaving up mana for the Slash is pretty appealing. So maybe I'll play my Observer. Yeah, we'll leave mana up for the Slash, because if that thing's about to transform, we're going to want to kill it in response, because we can't really afford... Like, a 4/4 is a big deal. Right. It's not transforming right now, so that's good. Hi, son of BMW. Glad you liked the video. Yeah, that's my plan to do sort of a... I guess it's sort of a mini podcast kind of format where I'm just going to talk 10 to 20 minutes about something about Limited. And that was the first episode of that. So the awkward thing here is I can kill this Famished Foragers, sure, but then Death Bonnet Sprout will transform on their next turn, and we don't really want that to happen, so I think we kill the Sprout here. You know, it sucks because we have Neonate's Rush in our deck, which would be awesome against this thing. We have 3 of them even. So using Moonrager's Slash doesn't feel amazing, but I can live with it. Especially because I get a counter, so... So let's go ahead and cash this in here. Alright. So we'll play our Infiltrator. Look, it's daytime now. That's cool-ish animation. I kind of was hoping we'd see it sort of spread across the battlefield. Maybe it did and I missed it. So right now, this just makes a 2/2. So we're not thrilled about that. Yeah, Embodiment does seem good. I mean, if nothing else, I think this deck will be a good sort of test for our Embodiment of Flame as a card and how... Because it's a weird one, but... So far, it's definitely done its job. So the bad news for us, overall, I'd say, is our opponent has a bunch of mana, and they're in green, red, so they're going to be able to play something huge at some point. If they pass here, like that, I do get a huge creature, which is cool. I'll take it. Okay, so I think we swing in with Harvest-Tide Assailant here. It's got Trample. So if they want to trade their Famished Foragers for it, I think we're okay with it. I could consider attacking a little more aggressively here because of Immolation, which I could then just put on whatever it is they decide not to block. But I don't really want to give up the embodiment if I don't have to, so... yeah. We'll just swing with the embodiment here. Sure, they trade. I wish I had a trick or something, but the trade's fine with me. It may allow us on a future turn to be a little more aggressive. So yeah, right now we're still just getting a 2-2 out of this. Doesn't seem amazing. And that is, you know, our deck definitely doesn't have as many spells as you actually want to have. But yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's quite as good as Experimental Overload, because with Experimental Overload, you would perfectly happy play it and get a 2-2 and then get a spell, and we would too, because we'd get our Moonrager Slash back. But yeah. I mean, I could do it here just to do it, and then... I mean, it's not like I'm doing anything else with my mana. I think I'm going to be a little greedy, though, and just pass the turn. It'll become night. No, it won't. It already is night. So if they have werewolves right now, that's going to be bad. Alright, that doesn't concern me a ton, because we have Immolation. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and immolate Death Bonnet Sprout here. And now we can pretty much swing out, and I don't feel too bad about it. So yeah, that's what we'll do. Okay, so right now it does sort of feel like pressuring them isn't a bad idea. That would be more true, though, if they didn't have a 7-mana 4/4 in the future. And they do, so... I think we'll end our turn. We really need to draw our Neonate's Rushes. Those are going to be wacky if we ever get them. It counts itself. I think. You know, now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm not so sure. I'm pretty sure it would count itself. That kind of effect usually does. Yeah, this deck needed like 2 more spells, I think. Man, they really want that Death Bonnet Sprout to transform, don't they? This is where a Neonate's Rush would have been good, because now this is going to transform, and we can't really do anything about it. Alright, so... Well, is it time we find out about Seize the Storm? Yeah, I think it probably is, unfortunately. So it does count itself. That's good. I was right. So this guy transforms now into a 3/3, who exiles things from graveyards. That's annoying. So they're going to be able to exile our Seize the Storm, for example. They won't get a counter out of it is the good news, I guess, but... Oh, that's a good draw. That is a good draw. Okay. Lets us really threaten them in the air. So the bad news is, whatever I search up, they're going to probably exile. But on the plus side, it means Seize the Storm will still be in our graveyard. So I think we just play the big threat that puts him on a clock. I could decide not to grab anything, but I think grabbing a thing makes sense. Yeah, so we'll throw Gale Drifter in there. Probably going to get exiled. But I think we're okay with that overall. No, I can exile anything, I checked. It only gets the bonus from creature cards, though. Which makes it even more likely Gale Drifter's what gets... okay. So they're going big here. Our deck, so far, I think... I mean, you know, I think we've actually had sort of bad luck in our inability to draw, like, any more of our damaging spells. But apart from that, I think the deck is playing out kind of how expected, which is that it doesn't feel great. So, ooh, do you think they have Lunar Frenzy? No, but they have Howl of the Hunt. Okay. So we get dropped to 8 there in one fell swoop, which hurts, but I'm not super alarmed yet. Oh, now I'm a little more alarmed. Ooh, that's interesting. So we have 8 mana. If I use Unblinking Observer mana here, I can leave up mana for the Intruder. We basically have to play Seize the Storm here because we don't want this to gain Trample. So, yeah. They have Coven up now, though, so I guess that's kind of a bummer. All right, so... so I actually have to tap down both Observers if I want to leave mana up here. All right, so we're going to go to combat and attack them in the air. Do I think it's worth tapping down 2 blockers in this situation? I think so. I mean, I'm going to produce another one, and then I also have the Intruder, so... Yeah, so we go Seize the Storm. Get another 2/2. Leave up the Intruder. It's not looking good, though. We didn't do a great job pressuring our opponent early, and now they're sort of where they want to be. So they can make things unable to block, I guess. I probably should have thought about that. Let's see if they do it. Doesn't look like they did. So I have to flash in the Intruder now if I want it to be able to block. So I think I'm going to do that. So we'll flash an Intruder here. And... I guess I'm going to weaken the Harrier. I mean, they can give something trample. So, yeah, we'll weaken the Harrier, I guess. They have all these activated abilities. Okay, they're going to let me block, surprisingly enough. So, they can use the ability once. This already has trample. So this makes it so they have to use an ability on this or it dies, and I think that's appealing for us. Yeah, we kind of have to throw as many bodies in front of things as we can because of trample. I think we might just be dead. If they use their abilities here, I think we're dead, basically. This can trample for a bunch. So yeah, we're dead. I was kind of hoping they... Interesting. That actually means we're not dead. Man, of course now we draw Neonate's Rush, huh? 6, 8. So we have 8 damage. If we could find a way to get 2 attackers out of the way, that would be cool. Well, okay. Let's Neonate's Rush something. Oh, into Flame Channeler. That's brutal. Yeah, I think that means we're dead unless they make some huge mistake here. I did play 2 spells, so there's that. But yeah, we can't really attack. So we got, you know, this deck just never really felt like it was firing on... Forget all cylinders. It doesn't feel like any cylinders were ever firing in this game. They could have killed us, like, at least a turn ago, too, because they can make things unable to block if they wanted to. But so far... That is not what we've seen them do, but... I'm going to block really conservatively-ish here, because that's like the only way we could win is if they somehow decide not to do lethal. Okay, they did lethal. Alright. Yep, deck played out about how it felt like it would in that first game. Just to say, didn't feel great. I do think, like, if we'd drawn those Neonates rushes at reasonable times, things would have been a lot different, but... Because the amount of card advantage those would give us with the transformed Flame Channeler is pretty crazy, actually. Because we draw a card off of it, and draw a card, add a flame counter to our creature, so it would be awesome. Hopefully we get to do it, if nothing else in this draft. Hopefully we get to do it. I do think, you know, in that game, Flame Channeler seemed like a pretty legit card, and even though we weren't doing anything very good with it, the, you know, spell with flashback that gives us a creature with power and toughness equal to our instants and sorceries in graveyard, it felt pretty good too. Even if we were only making 2/2/2s with it, you could definitely see how it could be really good in, like, you know, better situations, better decks, for that matter. All right, I think this is a keep. I mean, our lack of red is not awesome, but it's not a disaster. We drew it anyway. So... Okay. Hey, there's a Neonates Rush. Not great here, but hey. We'll attack here. I think we're down with the trade if that's what our opponent wants to do. I doubt it is, but... I think we'd be okay with it. Yeah. We are. Play another Observer. Okay. So we'll play Gale Drifter here and end our turn. So next turn we can play our Dread Knight, and ideally we'll actually get in for some damage before we play it. And then Neonate's Rush will be discounted, which could matter. Yeah, I think all of these, like, little creatures with decent stats who can turn your really wide board into an effect, they've been overperformers, I think. Okay, so let's attack with our Gale Drifter here, and then we'll play Mounted Dread Knight in our second main phase, which is going to feel pretty good. I think there's a good chance our opponent decides to just pass their turn, so both of their creatures will transform. Neither of them are really frightening, they're just big, so... Yeah, so that's what they did. Ooh, Fading Hope's a good draw here. So, I can use it to splash, bounce the Tavern Smasher, which I think looks pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I guess we could wait, but nah. We're going to go ahead and bounce Tavern Smasher here. So the fact that they passed their turn is going to feel kind of brutal, ideally, anyway. I'm trying to decide if I want to cast Rush here, if they, like, did something in response. I think I'm holding on to it for now, but we'll see. So we'll attack with both of those. Okay, well that's annoying. I could use Neonate's Rush here just to play it discounted and replace itself, but that doesn't really seem worth it. Alright, drop him to 14. Guess we'll play this land. Really want them to play an X1. That's like our dream. Or to get like Flame Channeler in play. Like drawing Flame Channeler right here would be nice. We'd have Grafted Identity, which, you know, I forgot we have that card. That can definitely bail us out of some situations. Hi, Reverend Doc. Thank you for the resub. Glad you enjoy the content. And hello, Misha Tower Proc. Okay. So, don't love that it's daytime. I mean, nighttime. If it weren't nighttime, I could block with my Observer and kill one of them, but I think we just have to take it here. And hope we can double spell on our turn, basically. Well, to do that, we're going to need to draw something here off Neonate's Rush. That's not a great position to be in. However, I do kind of think it's where we are. So, yeah. Ouch. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. I can play it. And it'll be a 3-3. Look out. So, yeah. That was a good draw. Thank you, Unblinking Observer. Untransform those things. Misha, we're in a blue-red, yeah, we're in a blue-red spells deck. It's not a great one, though. Yeah, I mean, from the draft, I was like, this might not be very good. And that's kind of how it's panned out. So they're just going to pass their turn to transform them again? No. That drops us to 5, and they go up to 12. Ugh. Yeah, we just don't seem very good at combating basically anything so far. Okay. Is it worth an attack here? Attack, play Seize the Storm. I kind of think we're in a place where that's what we have to do to have a shot here. Pack 1, pick 1 was Moonrager's Slash. We have Grafted Identity, which is definitely like our biggest bomb, but we haven't seen it yet. Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, I do feel like Neonate's Rush and Seize the Storm have proven to be pretty legit cards. So the scary thing is we're in top deck mode here. They have 3 werewolves in play. If we don't draw a spell, I mean, they could choose to pass the turn and transform all of them if they wanted to. And we won't be able to do anything about it, most likely. We could draw another Neonate's Rush and chain 2 spells together. But yeah. They may just pass the turn here and transform them all, because then on the next attack, I mean, we're kind of out of luck. Is a disconnect the only way we can win? I don't know, maybe. So yes, they transformed everybody. So this has Menace. Interesting. So drawing the Spirit here gives us a chance. I just attack with Gale Drifter here. Then when they attack me, I block these 3 bigger guys. Flash in our Spirit and maybe attack them for 6 the next turn. I mean, I think that's our best chance. They have 2 cards in their hand, so there's a good chance they have some way to interact with us. And the flip side of that is any werewolf has haste and will come into play flipped. So we might be in trouble. But this gives us more of a chance than most cards we drew would have. So I'll take it. We might find a way. Yeah, I said that earlier, actually, about it should be visible across the whole board. Uh-oh. So they can turn off a blocker, and that has haste. So now I don't think we can get it done. I guess if we draw Moonrager's Slash, maybe we can. So, ooh, wait. Swing out, because then I can flash in the Spirit and block the Harrier. Yeah, and go to 2. Really, that conservative, huh? Well, that wins us the game too, if we're lucky. If they go that conservative. Yeah, I mean, I think they should probably... I mean, I would swing out if I was them. I guess they're like, you have 7 mana up and 2 cards in your hand and a significant amount of damage on the board. So maybe I don't want to swing out. So... it's not a terrible way of looking at things. Okay, so I think we're gonna be okay, unless they find a way to do 1 damage to us here, which, you know, is possible. We block that, we block this, and we go to 1. They've got 1 black mana, and we're at 1. Man, I think we're gonna steal a win here. Yeah! The blue-red deck, that I don't think is very good. You know, that is one way to keep your win percentage high, though, is don't be terrible. You know, this deck probably deserves to go something close to 0-3, but if we can steal a couple wins, you know, and go 2-3, it's not going to feel too bad. Like, that's the optimistic outcome with this deck. You know, I don't really play any other board games. I would play more of them if I had time, but between, you know, Magic simultaneously being a hobby and one of my jobs, more or less, and my other actual job, it's hard to find time for that. But yeah, Wingspan is a good game. I mean, I would definitely play more board games if my life were different, but... Okay, this looks fine. About as fine as this deck's gonna get. I mean, the only thing we could be doing better is actually drawing our grafted identity. That would be pretty good at some point. I love this Halloween background. Even if it is a little early, you know, I love Halloween, but I don't really start putting up all the decorations until October 1st. But, you know, I'm okay with it being a little early in Magic World. Okay. That is not an X1. It is a Cathartic Pyre, though, which I like. So yeah, we'll pass the turn. So if they play a damaging spell here, I definitely Pyre the Channeler in response. If they don't, I kind of am leaning towards just taking 2 here. Alright, we're going to go ahead and kill it, I think, just to be safe. Even if it transforms, it'll be dead, so... See if they counter that or something. The good news is, even if they do... Yeah, we can play our Elementalist here. So, I wonder if they have Dissipate. It's going to be annoying if they do. I think we still run this out there. Nice. So, Elementalist gets us back our Pyre. Our decks are pretty similar so far, I would say. I wonder how many Flame Channelers they have. Alright, so we'll just play an Observer. Might eat another Neonate's Rush. If our opponent has like 3 Flame Channelers, or even 2 like us, multiple Neonate's Rushes are a real possibility. So they know we've got the Pyre. I imagine they'll try to find a way to play around it. Alright. Alright, drawing a creature we can play there is pretty nice. I'm going to attack with the Observer. I could leave it untapped just for purposes of being able to leave up the Pyre, but I think we're getting a little too reactive there when we don't need to be. It is daytime, so if you pass your turn again... I'm sure their hand's filled with removal, though, based on what we've seen so far, but... So if they pass their turn again, this will become a 4/4 Trampler, which is pretty nice. If I draw a land, I can rush and Pyre and take down the 4/4. Okay. So their deck's a lot like ours. I think they ended up in a similar place. So I think we just attack with both our creatures here. Yeah. I could use, you know, the Pyre first or whatever, but I think just holding on to what we've got, pressuring them a little bit here is probably just better. More worried about our Observer, huh? Interesting. They're going to kill them both, probably. Yeah, I was going to say. They're probably both dead is probably what's going to happen here. So do I want to Pyre that Channeler so our Observer stays alive? I guess I probably do. Although, we don't really desperately need the Observer. Yeah, we'll just let this all... We'll just let it... Oh, crap. I kind of have to. So we'll do it. I forgot about that. This way we also get to keep our Observer, so... Works for me. I have a lot of mana, which is concerning. Okay, so... End our turn. So they're like flooding out over there, it would seem. So we're gonna flash in our Intruder here. Ooh, 5th land is good because we can finally play a bigger, scarier creature. And I think that's exactly what we do here. Looks like we may steal another win off of Mana Screw. We do it! I could have Neonate rushed it after the Observer died. Yeah, there were ways for us to kill it, but if the options were like keep our creature alive and not have to use another card to kill it, I think that was probably the better way to do it. Because we were going to end up having to kill it anyway because it's too good, so I may as well hold on to my Observer. All right, so I think we've salvaged this draft given... We're going to end up winning like 5 in a row now, probably, after we started pretty ugly. Really didn't feel like we were going to... Like, that game kind of felt like we were in good shape the whole time. The game before that we won basically never felt like we were going to win, but we did it anyway. It's pretty wacky. Hightown Coco Fang. Our deck does have some cool spell payoffs. We have the flashbacky elemental token maker thing. And we actually have a deck a lot like yours. We have 2... we didn't get them, but we have 2 of those elemental... Like, it's 2 mana, 2/2 on one side, and flips. And then we have a bunch of neonates, Bloodlust, or whatever the heck it's called. So we actually have very similar decks, even though you didn't see the part of our deck that was similar. Because we have 2 of those, and then a bunch of direct damage spells that would transform it and all of that. Not a great hand. I mean, it's definitely keepable, but a 2-drop would be good. Nice. 2-drop it is. So Nebelgast Intruder can be pretty potent on this board already. Interesting. So I think I attack here and then leave up our Intruder. Yeah. If they block, I use the Intruder now, but I didn't think they were going to. Yeah, we'll just end our turn, and... I mean, I could play the Infiltrator instead, but I think Intruder seems fine. That is not good. So, we're going to be needing to find an answer to that. Alright, so we're going to get to kill one of these. That part's good. So any creature we have that dies will now turn into a decayed creature on their side of the battlefield, so... Basically, we have to not let creatures die. So... I gotta say, I am a little disappointed overall with the way the that animation looks for night and day. I was really hoping we'd sort of see like the moon and things like that going on. Alright, so I think we attack, we pass, that'll make this a 4/4, and then we can flash in the Spirit, which seems pretty good. Yeah. They have to double spell to shrink down our assailant. Obviously, I'm mostly only going to be attacking in the air anyway, so yeah, we kind of just have to take damage, because if we try to trade... Oh, interesting. Huh. Well, I think we... Oh, yeah, I can't block. Duh. So I think we just take the 8 here, unfortunately. Ow. Then we're going to flash in our Spirit. Ooh, Fading Hope is a really good draw here. So I can actually play both of these rushes and leave up Fading Hope, and I can use the rushes to kill the Harrier, which I think is probably what we want to do. 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so let's fire off a rush on the Harrier here. Then we'll fire off another one. So 4, 6, 8. So we can do 11 here. We definitely leave the Observer back so we can cast Fading Hope, though. So we'll just attack with these for 9. Yeah. My god. Are we actually going to do okay with this deck in the end? Kind of feels like we might. As shocking as that is. The beginning of your upkeep. So I could block with my Observer here, cast Fading Hope. Wow. Is this deck better than I thought? Or are we just being lucky? I don't know. But I'm glad to have salvaged a deck that didn't feel very good, at least to a 50% win percentage. Yeah, maybe it's better than I think it is. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We haven't even drawn our bomb, so... Which, you know, I think in this deck, Grafted Identity is probably not quite a bomb, if I'm being honest. Because we have no ways of making, like, really expendable tokens. But it's still really good. It's still the best card in our deck. Right, pretty good. Just because I can interact early if I need to, and yeah. That's a great Neonate's Rush target. I could use Immolation, but I don't think I'm going to just yet. I think we let it live. I mean, if we can kill it with the Rush, it's going to feel incredible, so it'll be a Rush, in fact. And it's not like they can transform it right away. So yeah, I think that's what we want to do. Just play the Observer. Yeah, so there's no reason for us to block there. All right, so I think we try to kill it here with Neonate's Rush. I guess I'll attack first. Yeah, we'll attack first. And then, yeah, we'll just Neonate's Rush now. Nice. So anytime you can actually kill something with one Neonate's Rush, it's pretty silly. Because it's a 2-for-1. Man, okay, so, you know, we are doing pretty well. You know, to some extent, we're doing pretty well. But we've also had one opponent really get mana flooded, and now we're having one get screwed, so, you know. So... I think I attack with Observer here. And then we'll play our Gale Drifter. And then our plan... I mean, I guess they could transform it, but even if they transform it by passing their turn, which is pretty likely, we can still kill it with Moonrager's Slash, so... Yeah, so that's what they decided to do. It's nighttime, so my Moonrager's Slash only costs 1 red mana. That's pretty sweet. Doesn't actually do us a whole lot of good right this second. And I may not even play it. I may just let that thing do what it wants. I think I'm just going to attack with Gale Drifter here and play Mounted Dread Knight. I think that's just a better play here. I mean, we could kill that thing if we wanted, but I think playing a 6-5 when they're stuck on 2 mana seems more like we're, you know, pressing our boot into their neck. And it's still night, so that's good. All right. So, okay, we're going to have a winning record here with this thing. Luck has definitely been a factor, but maybe this deck also is just better than it seemed like it was in that first game, or 90% of that second game where our deck just felt horrible. So, yeah, I mean, I would not have bet on this deck having a winning record, I can tell you that much. And I'm sure most people wouldn't have. I mean, you know, we only got 7 spells for one thing. Okay, so we got Flame Channeler this time to do some silly Flame Channeler things, which is good. So, yeah. Probably play Flame Channeler on turn 2 just so we can set up a transformation. Ooh. How likely do we think it is that that can transform? Not super likely. I'm going to play the Channeler. Even if it does transform, we can still kill it, and it didn't, so. If you have 10 spells in your deck, I think it's a perfectly reasonable card, but it's still not great. It's what's, you know, that's what's always interesting about Limited is Delver of Secrets is one of the best creatures ever printed, but in Limited it's like a C. You know? I don't think Evolving Wilds is that underrated in Limited, frankly. Ooh, Thermo Alchemist would have been nice. Alright, so we can Neonates Rush the Delver here, and I think that's definitely what we do. Because it's bonkers, because we kill it, transform our Channeler. Yeah. I wonder whether it would have been more worth it to attack first. I don't know. But I do know I'm attacking for 3. Okay. Some bad things are probably going to happen. Let's find out. Let's attack with our embodiment here. Okay, it could have been worse. So, where do I want to put this? Oh, it just taps it. No, it is top or bottom. I guess top, because I can play it and then Cathartic Pyre next turn. Yeah. We'll put it on top. And we'll play Gale Drifter. Thermo Alchemist is so good. I'm glad they upgraded it to uncommon though, because the spells deck in, I can't remember if it was Shadows over Innistrad or Eldritch Moon or both, but it was bonkers, partly because of Thermo Alchemist. That's not good. I mean, the good news is they're sort of taking a turn off in a way. The bad news is they get some serious card selection. I wonder whether they attack me with that zombie. Yeah, they do. That's a pretty cool animation, at least. First time we've seen it. Alright. So, I think we attack. Play Flame Channeler and Cathartic Pyre the Alchemist. That seems reasonable. I could wait. Maybe just waiting is better. You know, it probably is. Because then this way we can also add the Observer. Oh yeah, they're more of a real spell deck than us, I would say. Like, once you have enough spell payouts, playing Consider makes perfect sense. You do need kind of a lot for it to really be worth it, but, you know, not a lot, but like 5 good ones. Thermo Alchemists and stuff. This is my first draft ever in this set. Bulbous Bullfrog. Alright, I'm glad I held on to the Pyre overall. Ooh, they can double spell though. I forgot about that. Nasty. This is a nasty sequence. Yep. Oh my god. Okay, so the good news is... Ooh. You're not legendary, are you? You're not. So... Okay. I think we play Flame Channeler number 2. The question is whether we go after the Alchemist, but I think we actually want to go after the Foragers just because they can block and kill our creatures in combat. So yeah, I think we go Cathartic Pyre. We can actually potentially kill both. But yeah, we'll do 3. Transform both Flame Channelers. Look out. Then I think we swing out. We kind of want them to... Oh, I guess they're not going to block. So I probably should have just played Immolation right away, but... I guess if I can get them to... block... Yeah, so then we're going to put Immolation on Flame Channeler. Suddenly, we're in much better shape. They do still have a Thermo Alchemist, and we're at 10. But... other than that, that was a pretty gross turn. Our opponent had their own gross turn, and we responded with one of our own. Which was interesting. If we draw one of our Neonates Rushes right now, that would be so awesome. We still have 2 left in the deck. We also have Moonrager's Slash, so we have 3 cards in our deck that would put counters on our embodiments. At least 3. I may be forgetting one. Ooh, that's pretty good. I even get to scry. I kind of think I wait because I think there's a significant chance they have some sort of thing they can do here. Although I guess if I bounce first, they have to block with the other creature. And that matters. With 4 mana up and 3 cards in their hand, though, I think it's probably better to just swing here. So this drops them to 1 if this is actually what happens here. Guess we'll see. Drops us to 8. At least 8. They may play a spell here and then untap it again. Gross. Well, I think we're okay with that. I guess making sure I don't draw a land next turn really isn't a bad thing, because I may need the blocker. I could bounce my own creature, but I don't think it seems worth it. Yeah, it's not. We'll just put it on top. Thermo Alchemist drops us to 7 here. We drop them to 4. Yeah, and I think we'll go ahead and end our turn here. This is going to be close. If that had transformed, it would have been bad, but I could have bounced it in a pinch. The question is whether I should just bounce it no matter what, because of the chances that they have, like, a kill spell. If they have some way to do 4 to us, that would be bad. But I'm kind of hoping they don't have anything they can add. Okay, so they're kind of in desperation mode. I like it. They did draw a 3rd land, so... Okay, there's Vadrik. Let's see how what they do here. Like, if they swing with both their creatures here, we're going to be really happy. I kind of doubt that's what happens. Yeah, it's not what happens. So, we're going to take 2 here. That goes away. So, it's funny, because we'll use Fading Hope here to bounce Vadrik. I guess maybe bouncing Delver is a little better. But yeah, we're going to leave the Channeler on top, draw it again. They have to block. So if I left Vadrik in play, he would have died, but at least recasting Vadrik is more expensive. He does enable some silly stuff, potentially, but... Yeah, I do think forcing Vadrik to die probably was better. I should have bounced Delver and forced Vadrik to block, because Delver doesn't allow for nearly as silly of turns as Vadrik can. We know all but 1 card in their hand, so I'm not super alarmed. I don't know if they're telling me good game because they're about to win. Nope, that's not why. Making sure I drew that body ended up mattering. Well, in that game, our deck, you know, we didn't capitalize on our opponent having horrible luck, so... Still can't decide if this deck's overperforming, but it does, you know, the double embodiment of flame nonsense has been pretty good, unsurprisingly. For our first game in like 7/8, our deck didn't feel very good. Since then, it's been pretty good. With 1 win from Mana Screw and 1 win from Mana Flood, to be fair, but still. Solid hand. So this is, you know, if I draw a spell that does damage, I'd probably play Flame Channeler. Look at all those observers. But given that we don't have that, I think we'd rather run out some different 2-drops. That card's good. I think we just end the turn and leave up Nebelgast Intruder here. Yeah, 4/3 Vigilance while that clue's in play is not awesome. I'm trying to decide if I want to flash in the Intruder just to take less damage here. I don't think that's a terrible plan. It's not an amazing one, because ideally we use the Intruder to help us trade for something. But it lets us add to the board, so I might as well do it, I think. We're just going to take the hit. But I think taking 2 less while we add to the board is pretty nice. Yeah, Shadow Beast Sighting. Hey, there's our Grafted Identity. I don't really think I want to use it yet. But, yeah. There it is. Alright, so I think we just play both of these Observers. We got all 3 of them in this game. Funnily enough. Alright, so... Do I just take 8? Or do I try to double block the tracker? The annoying part about double blocking the tracker is these are both X1s, so they'll still be able to kill them both and cash in their clue. Kind of leaning towards just taking it. I think we just take it. Ooh, that's my favorite card in the set. So, I mean, you know, in the early going anyway. Okay. Well. Do I just swing out here? This can... Oh, it can block flyers. That's annoying. So next turn, they might flash back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They don't have the mana yet to flash it back. Well... Do I want to immolate the 1/1 just so I can swing out a little better? Maybe. I don't love it, but it's kind of where I'm leaning. They're still a ways away from their flashback cards, so I guess I could also just attack with the ground creatures and then use immolation to finish off the tracker, though. That seems pretty good. Though not great, because they are going to draw a card off of it. Still think I do it, but... Yeah, so then we'll play Immolation. I think that probably means they cash in their clue. They don't have to, though, I guess. Play Flame Channeler. Sorry, your first draft didn't go well. Our first one started the opposite, where our deck looked awful and somehow has rebounded. So next turn, potentially, they can flash back and get Ominous Roost going. I'm probably going to end up using Grafted Identity one way or another this turn. That's not the most exciting thing to steal with Grafted Identity. I mean, I'm probably going to steal the 4/4, I guess. It's probably where I'm leaning. Ugh. I mean, I could steal the 2/3 and attack them, but... I think we just attack with Intruder here. So next turn, they will be able to flash back their thing. That's not good for us. So, do I Grafted Identity that 4/4? Probably. I probably do. See if that works for us, or if they break it up one way or another. If they do, we're in trouble. Okay. That's a good sign, I think. Okay. That's less of a good sign. So, I think we just take it and cross our fingers. I mean, that's our only out here. So yeah, they get a 1/1 and they get a 4/4. Okay. Well. I think I'm going to hit them with the 5 here. Yeah. Attack with the Gale Drifter. I mean, we have to hope, or the 5/5, and then play the Gale Drifter. We have to hope they don't have any way to interact. I mean, we're dead either way, basically, if they do. So I think doing the damage to them and sort of giving us a way to... yeah. Okay, well... We're really okay with that, I have to say. Play our Gale Drifter here. Makes me feel like they have something very scary. All right, so how much are you to bring back? 5. Yeah, so I think we'll block here and here. And hope they can't kill us. There's a good chance they can, but we go to 1. Yeah, that's less than ideal. As is that. Yeah, because both of these will also give them 1/1s. They built a really sweet Ominous Roost deck. I'm jealous. Yeah, so I need all 3 blockers, so I can't really attack this time. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how we can win against the Roost here. Because we block these, but then they can bring them both back in the same turn and get 2 1/1s. That's the dream I was hoping to live in this format at some point. Obviously, we have to block them, so it's not like we really... Oh, we only have 1 flying blocker anyway, so we're dead. Even before we declare blocks, we're dead. That was a good example, though. Like, Grafted Identity just... It's really good in a lot of the blue decks in this format, but our decks really lacks good sacrifice fodder, and that makes it only really good. I don't think it's quite a bomb in this deck. It's a good hand, especially if we get to get an X1 with that Neonate's Rush. Ah, the 1 mana 2/2. That's the hidden mode on Rotten Reunion, because you don't actually have to target anything. And if you have, like, a real way to take advantage, and they probably do, and they're just sort of hanging back, ready to use it. That is an X1, but unfortunately it's one that can come back. It ends up being kind of a wash with Neonate's Rush, though, and I think I can live with a wash. Orbit Opportunist is sweet. We're probably going to have to slash it, actually. So we're going to take the damage here. That goes away. They draw a card. Yeah, so we're going to have to Moonrager's Slash, because Morbid Opportunist will turn into insane value if we're not careful. And then I'll attack. We can get it back with our Elementalist, too, so it's not exactly a catastrophe. You know, unless they exile it from our graveyard. Jeez. That wasn't very nice. Ugh. That Graveyard Trespasser. So the question here is whether I want to use... I could play Fading Hope to bounce a thing, and then play the Elementalist to get Fading Hope back. That's not terrible. I could also use the Rush to kill the Angler, but it'll come back as a flyer. And then they'll exile my Rush, and I won't be able to get it back with Ardent Elementalist. So, we're in an ugly situation here. The other option is to attack here and hope they block. Or, for us to just plan on blocking. The only problem is we have to play a spell for that not to transform. So we're kind of screwed here. Comes a 4/4. All right, so I think I'm gonna Fading Hope the Trespasser. They get the ETB again, but it's not gonna be. Oop, we don't want to do it that way though. We want to do it this way. Yeah, so Fading Hope the Trespasser. Oh, I forgot I have to discard a card. I'm running out of time, and I didn't. I wanted to discard the card there, obviously, but I clicked the wrong thing. So now we're really dead, I think. I think we were kind of in a horrible position no matter what we did, so I'm not too alarmed, but obviously that's not what we meant to do. I meant to discard the card once I screwed it up. Alright, so we're going to use Neonig's Rush here to kill an Angler. Why not the untapped one? I don't know. That's a good question. Ooh. That's interesting. Okay. So do I attack here and just play Dread Knight? Doesn't seem bad. Good chance they block, of course, but... Or maybe they won't. I'd be cool if they didn't. Right, so let's play our Dread Knight here. Ouch. Yeah. That's gross. We basically lost this game a while ago. So I could have grafted Identity the Trespasser, but I kind of felt like we didn't need to yet. It wouldn't have worked out anyway, and we would have lost either way because they had flipped the switch. But yeah. Hard to win a game where you let your spell be countered when you don't have to. Okay. So Grafted Identity is a possibility now, but it doesn't really save us anymore, so yeah, I think that game was basically unwinnable for us, is the good news. Like, the mistake I made didn't cost us significantly, taking that into account. But yeah.